Hello everyone, this is Jean Pow Barabajagal, and this is my another new guitar video. Just got something that I'm pretty excited about. I got my first Epiphone guitar. This is a reproduction of a rather unusual Gibson guitar. Epiphone's a company that was a major guitar maker in the early half of the 20th century, and then by around the 50s, they wound up merging with Gibson. Gibson bought them out. So they've kind of been known for being the cheap line of Gibson guitars. Fender has a line where they sell their cheaper versions of their guitars as Squire guitars. That's kind of what Epiphone became. However, Epiphone also has some unique guitars in their lineup that are also really interesting that aren't based on Gibsons. Kind of interested in those, but I wanted to get this replica, cheaper replica of a really famous / infamous Gibson guitar. So I'm going to start out by saying in 1957 and then 58. In 57, Gibson was not doing that well because the Fender Stratocaster was taking a lot of their sales, and they decided to do a really couple radical futuristic designs. And one of those designs, the most famous one, is the Flying V. Second most famous one is the Explorer. So they were both wedge-shaped guitars, really, angular, futuristic looking, and they didn't really do that well at the time. They sold badly. However, they were futuristic in that by the late 1970s and into the 80s, they kind of became metal guitars, standard designs. Actually, in the mid-70s, Ibanez, a Japanese company, used their patent designs to make their own versions of the Flying V and the Explorer, and they wound up having a lawsuit against them. And then in 1982, Gibson did a big reissue where they brought out 58 type versions of those guitars again, and there was a third guitar which was called the Moderne. And the Moderne, maybe there were a couple of prototypes made, maybe there were 8 to 10 of them that were at the factory for a while, and then they kind of got cannibalized to be their parts being made into other guitars. So they're sort of the holy grail guitar. They're a weird looking guitar that has never been that popular. There's not really many artists who've ever played them, but that's what I saw in a book a long time ago when I was a teenager, and I kind of always wanted some sort of modern guitar. So Epiphone has been doing limited reissues of the Moderne, and that's what I bought. Let's see if we can get a picture with this selfie stick. I'm not good at running a selfie stick, but here we go. So it looks like a Flying V, except it has a lower bout on the treble side. This is the bass bout, this is the treble bout, because the higher strings are here, the lower strings are here. But it's a wedge-shaped guitar, like the Flying V and the Explorer. And it had a really unusual headstock. They called it the Gumby headstock. This reissue, they've used what they call the Futura headstock. So it's more like a V to go with the body. And it says on mine, Epiphone, because it's not a Gibson. But there have been some Gibson reissues of this since 1982, and then there have been a couple others since then. It actually sounds pretty good. Very nice finish. These guitars, the original ones, were really unusual because they were made of Carina wood, rather than mahogany, which is kind of the standard Gibson guitar tone wood. The bodies of most guitars that are electric guitars are often mahogany. My SG is made of mahogany, but Carina is an African wood, also called limba, and it's lightweight. It's a good tone wood. It's supposedly brighter than mahogany. Nowadays, mahogany is classified as a vulnerable, you know, tropical forest wood. There are plantations of it, but still it's a somewhat endangered tree. Limba is not, and there is a company called Reverend Guitars. They make all of their guitars out of limba, and there have been, you know, one or two other companies here and there that do some work with limba on guitars, but those original 58 wedge-shaped guitars all were limba or Carina, and one of the Gibson reissues was mahogany instead. I'm sure there's a bunch of Flying V's that are actually mahogany, but this is nice because it shows the wood grain. This is a lot kind of nicer than I assumed it was going to be. Very bright gold hardware, though I think it's, since it's cheaper, it might be prone to tarnishing. It's interesting, this body shape, in that I'm finding as you sit down, it has a fair amount of neck dive. You kind of have to hold it up. Some people play Flying V's when they sit down, where they put it kind of across their leg. I think that's might be a possible thing to do when you sit down. However, when you stand up, it's pretty well balanced. So, let's see. Sorry about my lamp here. How can I do this? Yeah, I've got a little cramped room. There. Maybe that looks good. Can you see the guitar? So I'm pretty thrilled. I know I'm kind of buying a lot of guitars here. It was a good deal. Right now they're in a limited run only from a company called Zounds online. And they retail for like $5.99. They emailed me an offer for, I think, $529, and I said, I'm going to take it. I've always wanted one of these guitars. It's got good humbuckers. It's modeled after the 1958s, which are a good period of time as far as design for Gibson and Epiphone. So I'm pretty happy with it. I've plugged it in. It sounds good. I've tuned it up. I like the original headstock more, even though that's the one most people don't like. They've made this with several types of headstocks, but I like this one about second best, so I'm pretty happy. So that's my show and tell for this time. I'm looking forward to playing around with this guitar. Okay, have a good day. I'll get back to music videos pretty soon as far as records and things. I got a number of things in the mail recently I'd like to share. Have a good day. Bye.